Coming up today on Eagle Eyes on Tech, Netflix is preparing to buy Time Warner. We'll get into more details on that. Ads are coming to ChatGPT. Oh, that's going to be glorious to go ahead and take a look at. Crucial is unfortunately shutting down in favor of AI. And Windows 11 somehow is getting even more unstable, and it's getting hard to ignore now. All that and more coming today on Eagle Eyes on Tech. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or it's 2 a.m. Go to bed already. This Eagle Eyes on Tech. I am Eagle Falcon. We got a lot to talk about, not a lot of time to talk about it. I mean, realistically, I say we have a lot to talk about it. Realistically, this week, with how massive they are, there are two stories and friends. That's all there is. It's pretty much just two stories. Crucial and Netflix. That's all people are talking about. We got other ones, of course, but those are the big ones that everyone is talking about. So let's actually dive right in to that. So first things first, this is actually something that's a little aggravating that I'm kind of surprised is not getting a lot more talked about, is the fact that Netflix appears to have absolutely killed the ability to cast from your phone. The Netflix app on mobile devices, both Apple and Android, no longer have the ability to go ahead and be able to cast your whatever you're watching to any kind of device, including the Chromecast. Now, personally, I have moved on from the Chromecast to the far superior Roku stick. I'm just going to keep calling it superior so I feel better about my life choices. They're not great choices. I regret everything. But for those who do have Chromecasts and enjoy its simplicity, this is aggravating. Now, someone in chat is asking, besides Chromecast, did people use this all that much anyway? Funny enough, actually, I have actually on the regular cast things from YouTube specifically to plenty of devices that are not Chromecasts but do support casting. Like the Roku stick I have does support casting. It just sucks at it. The problem is not just people, not just like the tech savvy. Most tech savvy people have moved on from a Chromecast and probably have some kind of specially curated set-top box. Possibly even one they went ahead and have a specific Linux distro on if they decide to be absolutely crazy people, or they just went and got a Roku because they were sick of complications. But I ended up discovering something. How many of you tech savvy types out there just went ahead and didn't really care about trying to teach your tech illiterate parents or grandparents or aunts and uncles or whomever in the family that demanded you tell them about how to smart TV, and just decided, you know what, here's a Chromecast, pull up whatever you want on your phone, hit this icon, done, I'm going home. I'm sure a lot of you have. Guess what? A lot of those people are now really frustrated because that icon is now missing on Netflix, and that was the only way they were able to watch Netflix on their TV because all they had is a Chromecast. Yeah, like the number of people who cast from their mobile device for Netflix onto their TV is probably not that large, but there are plenty of people out there who do use a device like a Chromecast as their set-top box, as the way they watch TV. So without this feature, you're SOL, LOL. So I'm hoping, now this story actually got updated since I added it. Netflix added details in its help section to the article that was first published in regards to specific devices supporting Netflix casting. It doesn't change the fact you cannot cast Netflix from a mobile app on most TVs. All right, so there's no help there. So we'll wait and see if Netflix ever decides to reverse this course, but right now it's not looking good for anyone that uses a Chromecast as their primary way of, well, smart TVing. And you're probably thinking, well, what's the point? It's just Netflix. I don't really watch that much on Netflix. There's like a handful of shows, but they're all over now. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, right? It's fine, right? It might not be for long, as Netflix is looking to acquire Warner Brothers for $82.7 billion. Oh boy. Now, here's the thing, right? People are saying that it's a done deal. Netflix is going to buy Warner Brothers. It's not a done deal. There are going to be challenges to this, whether it be from Disney or from the, I don't know, someone in some government somewhere. Maybe the FFC or the FTC or the FTC. Maybe there's gonna be a challenge like that. But the thing is as someone else is kind of pointing out in the chat right now, yeah, there's already bigger players out there, like Disney, who I swear owns 80% of all media. Don't quote me on that, but I swear it feels like they do. Someone in chat says it's close to 60%. Are we sure it's not 80? Because it feels like 80. It feels like, honestly, in the world of media, if I ask who owns X, the answer is Disney. Like 90% of the time. But no, I get it. But I mean, honestly, the fact that we're even debating whether Disney owns more than half the media in existence, and the answer seems to be dangerously close to yes, is kind of terrifying in its own right. So soon we're gonna have Disney and its zombie army of media, Netflix, and just Amazon playing with crayons and trying to figure out how to make Twitch profitable. And that might be it. I guess we have Bollywood. That means something, right? So yeah, a lot of people are saying, oh my God, I hope this gets stopped. Oh, there's no way it's going to pass. Oh, there's no way it's going to pass. Oh my God, it's a done deal already. Oh God. The truth of the matter is, it's hard to see a way this gets stopped. It's not exactly a done deal, but the path looks pretty clear for this deal to get done. Someone in chat says Amazon will get around to absorbing Paramount at some point. Didn't Amazon buy someone big? Don't they have like MGM or someone like that? Did they get any other ones? You'd think I would know this reporting on the tech news on a weekly basis, but legitimately the media, like who controls what, just seems to happen so quickly and so quietly from time to time. It's hard to lose track. Like, tell me right now, who owns HBO? I actually do know the answer to this. And be honest, before you tell me what it is, you had to Google it. All right, well, the person in chat is correct. It is currently Time Warner Bros. And it will soon be Netflix unless something happens to put a bump in this road. Another acceptable answer would be, I thought it was called Max. Because HBO just seems to willy-nilly change their own name and the name of their services on a dime based on the role of a D20 or a cat walking across the keyboard. You know what? Considering the chaotic energy HBO has in running itself, they are a perfect fit for Netflix. It just seems that way. How many times has HBO Max changed the name of its service? Has it been 36 or 37? Also, by the way, bad news, there was an outage this past week. Cloudflare went down, taking out a large chunk of the internet with it around December 3rd at 8:47 UTC. In any case, let's move on over to Netflix. I'm sorry, not Netflix. The other N word, NVIDIA. That's all technology is going to be. It's just going to all be companies starting with the letter N. Netflix, NVIDIA. NVIDIA will own all hardware. Netflix will own all media. We're all doomed. Doomed, I tell you. But in any case, reports are coming out that, in fact, NVIDIA still does own 92% of the discrete GPU market share, despite focusing primarily on AI. AMD and Intel both gained market share but remain minor players. You want to know why NVIDIA lost market share but still controls 92%? First off, because AMD just never competed. AMD killed all the momentum they had during the Polaris generation, where for 5 years straight, they just kept releasing the same GPU over and over and over again under a slightly different name with a slightly different tweak, and just kept releasing it for $300, and that was their top tier. Like, AMD became a joke of a GPU, whereas NVIDIA kept innovating and innovating, and now we're at the point where NVIDIA sits at the top. They are just inflating the AI bubble harder than they ever could. All right. And while AMD does have compelling options, there's just, the name brand is just dead. You talk to anyone outside of the tech space that knows anything about tech, they're just going to say, get an NVIDIA card. Even though the performance difference between a 5000 series and a 4000 series card is literally nothing. It's not even like a figurative nothing. Like, oh yeah, it's a 3 or 4% improvement. No. It's literally nothing. Any improvements in benchmarks are within a margin of error between the 5000 series and the 4000 series. That's why the market share has shifted to give AMD a 7% market share, and for Intel to finally get a total market share of 1. Look out. 1% market share percentage or whatever. That's how you know they're here to play. They have a itsy bitsy little sliver of the pie. Now, what's going to happen next year? Probably nothing, honestly. We're probably going to see the GeForce series get maybe a little better. Maybe. I imagine it's still going to be focused a ton on, that crazy thing everyone keeps talking about called AI. They're going to keep talking about that, of course. They're going to keep pushing the GPUs towards that. And they're just going to tell, hey, gamers, you should totally trust AI. Despite the fact that whatever, it doesn't matter. Despite the fact that the AI generated frames have all kinds of flaws within it and ends up making your gaming experience from a cinematic perspective much worse. But hey, I can't wait for multi-frame gen to generate 10 fake frames to my 1. You know who else I actually feel bad for? I feel bad for tech YouTubers. What are they going to do during all this? Nobody's going to want to watch how to build a computer. The core components of it are going to be way too expensive with RAM. I've seen some pictures of RAM sticks costing $1,000. I'm fairly sure those are fake. But even so, the ones I can confirm are $300-$400. What are you supposed to do? Rumors are that this shortage, I thought it was only going to last like a couple of months. Experts who know more in the field than I do think this shortage is going to last over a year. I mean, if I can make a 14-year computer work for me for a very long time, anyone can go ahead and squeak a little bit more performance out of their rig for that much longer, right? Like, that's kind of a no-brainer. What are the people who are supposed to make a career, who make a living on trying to talk about this stuff, going to do? Because this is going to spread to other fields too. It's not just going to be PC building. Eventually it is going to affect things like phones, tablets. Even the Mac is not going to be immune to this. I've seen some reports already. I haven't confirmed them yet, but there's some reports already. Price of all Dell computers across the board are going to be going up 10%. Lenovo soon to follow. I only found one source reporting this, but things continue to not look good. And more people are just be like, yeah, I'm just going to keep doing what I do. I'm not going to bother with any of the other stuff. So what are the guys who talk about tech on a daily basis going to do? Because they can't complain about everything for a year. I don't know. Meanwhile, OpenAI CEO has declared a quote code red as Gemini, the Google equivalent of ChatGPT, gains 200 million users in 3 months. Here's the thing you also got to remember about OpenAI declaring a problem within his own company. They bought 40% of all RAM in existence on credit, according to reports. They bought all that RAM for their new data centers on the theory that they can make it up by just improving their AI models that use this RAM that much quicker. So the fact that his direct competition all of a sudden is now gaining more and more users and his growth is now shrinking, ooh, that's not good, is it? Now, I want to stress, I do not hope for the downfall of any company, because any company that collapses means that there are thousands upon thousands of people's livelihoods that are then in danger. I don't like the company, but if it goes down, that's a problem. But I cannot wait for that AI bubble to pop. It's going to hurt when it finally does. But in the meantime, that bubble is growing to the point where it is hurting everyone else, and it needs to pop. We'll just have to wait and see what exactly happens. In the meantime, Microsoft. Oh, I'm sorry. No. That's not Microsoft. That's the other M company. We're going to save them for after the break, though. I'm actually going to shuffle stuff around a little bit here, because I want to have plenty of time to talk about that story. Instead, let's talk about Amazon and Google wanting to collectively launch a multi-cloud service so that all of their services will be able to have faster connectivity. So this is to help improve Amazon Web Services as well as Google's cloud endeavors. Here's the problem with this, though. I appreciate wanting to bolster their infrastructure to be more resistant to outages. Boy, did you guys pick the wrong time to go server shopping. Whoo, boy. Because let me tell you, servers still use RAM, by the way. A very specific kind of RAM. The very specific kind of RAM that is in high demand thanks to everything that is going on with AI. Just looming over everyone, echoing out. It comes for us all. The call of AI's never-ending hunger for more hardware. So good luck to Google and Amazon in their effort to expand this sort of stuff. They're estimating that the project is going to take $15.16 billion. And it's estimated to generate $33 billion in revenue. How long the project is going to take is unsure at this time. We'll have to wait and see how that goes down. Meanwhile, in the story of wacky things going on that just spells doom and gloom, here's a bad rumor that came out. Rumors started circulating that Samsung was negotiating with itself on whether they would supply DRAM chips to their mobile division. The Samsung mobile division, of course, makes one of the most popular smartphones out there in the Galaxy S series. And of course, they source some of their components from internally in their Samsung chip manufacturing company. Okay? Someone in chat says Samsung isn't a single company. Shut up. The point is, I mean, yes, it is, but no, it isn't. It's complicated. You're technically wrong, but you're also right, but shut up. The point is, Samsung is talking to Samsung about making sure that they have a good supply of DRAM chips. Allegedly, the initial report was that Samsung chip manufacturing division said no to the Samsung mobile division. Now, you hear that report and you go, oh my God, it's so bad Samsung isn't going to help itself? The Samsung mobile division has come out and said, what? No, that's based on nothing. Did you make that up? Because it sounds like you made that up. But these are the kind of rumor mongering nonsense we're now getting. So before you start going around and start saying crazy things like Samsung isn't even going to help Samsung, the RAM shortage is so bad, just know that this is the internet, and people on the internet can in fact lie to spread misinformation on the internet because it's fun. They also might try to spread allegations that Samsung isn't a single company, but yeah. ChatGPT is going to be adding ads to their chatbot system. Someone in chat says, I can lie on the internet? This chatter in particular lies on the internet on a regular basis. The amount of misinformation that is shared in jest from this particular chatter is legendary. Yeah, I'm calling you out. In any case, ChatGPT is going to be adding ads to their chatbot services, saying that sponsored suggestions may become part of your everyday prompts, meaning things you ask ChatGPT now are now not theoretically biased, but are now going to actually be biased. Possibly, maybe. But it's always going to be in the back of your head now, where you wonder, is that really the best method, or did Big Bleach and Ammonia pay ChatGPT to say that? Now you no longer need a tinfoil hat to think that. I mean, hey, OpenAI needs to pay for 40% of the world's RAM somehow. And it's going to be by manipulating the results to be for sponsors. Now, one might think this is unethical, unhinged, and just downright dirty. Now, here's another thought for you. It's not being unethical. It's being a digital influencer. Yeah, that's it. It's totally it's just ChatGPT being an influencer. Yeah, that's it. Oh, what I need to do is get a sponsor that's a popcorn brand, so I can promote them anytime one of these moments happen, because we're gonna need some popcorn. This is gonna get really, really good. As ChatGPT tries to find 101 uses for Charmin toilet paper. We're gonna go ahead and take our first break here. When we come back, we're gonna talk about the other M company. We're gonna talk about Micron. Don't go anywhere. We will be back. It is the Christmas season here at Eagle Eyes on Tech. Though, not gonna lie, it sure doesn't feel like it. Like, we're all trying to be happy and joyful, and it's just like, yes, doom, gloom, and as someone mentioned in the chat during the break, the end of personal computing. Not quite yet, but God, does it seem more plausible now than ever. Anyway, let's get to the other big story. I said there were basically two stories and friends. Here is the other big story. Let's first get you some background, all right? In the world, there are 3 manufacturers that produce pretty much all the DRAM. Well, actually, there's also this one, that one, I don't care. There's 3 major manufacturers that pretty much produce the overwhelming majority of all the RAM, and a few outliers shut up. You have Samsung, not that Samsung. No, not that Samsung either. Not that Samsung. Yes, that Samsung. Yeah, so Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron basically produce all the RAM. Now, if you're wondering where the heck, what do you mean there's only 3? We see like G-Skill, Corsair, Kingston, a whole bunch of other brands I can't pronounce and don't remember off the top of my head. There's all those kinds of brands of RAM out there. Well, they all just make the actual RAM module chips that are kind of like this. I guess that Bugs is still alive. But in any case, they all go ahead and just take the RAM modules and put them on a stick, kind of like this, even though this is an SSD. All right. But it's all either RAM modules made by those three manufacturers. Micron actually has their own first-party manufacturer of consumer RAM called Crucial. Micron announced that in February of 2026, Crucial is going to shut down, ending the sales of all their consumer RAM and the consumer SSDs. They're not gone yet, but they will be very, very soon. Micron, in their statement, even explicitly mentioned that they are looking at seeking higher demand and profitable ventures in the field of AI. They basically told the world point blank, you all aren't worth it. The AI data centers are worth more money. Deuces. Now, does this mean that they're getting out of the consumer market altogether? Technically, no. They are not going to be getting out of the consumer market entirely. But let's be honest, if you're willing to go and kill your first party brand in Crucial, you're not going to want to do a whole lot of business with the other consumer brands. More than likely, they'll still provide RAM modules to, say, Corsair, to Kingston, and to many of these other stick manufacturers, only because they still have a contract. But I almost guarantee you, if the AI bubble doesn't pop by the time that those contracts come due, Micron is going to look to get out of them. And right now for Micron, selling those RAM modules to consumer sticks does make some sense, only because the cost of the sticks is absurd. Like here, behind me right now, I am not even exaggerating. I don't know if you can see it on camera or not, but right there, I've got a package of Corsair RAM that was on back order that I bought for it was like $120. That same package is now $350. Someone in chat says it's now worth $400. You know, it might actually be $400 now. It might have gone up $50 since I last looked. That's not out of the question. The most wild thing is I got that RAM for a build I'm planning in my computer case over here. You know what it's looking like more now? It's looking like a bloody investment. Now people are saying, oh, once this AI bubble pops, I'm never going to buy Crucial RAM ever again. Let me tell you something. All right. When the AI bubble pops, and keep in mind, all bubbles eventually pop. The question is, how long will it take for them to pop? When the bubble pops, you will not see Crucial come back. Micron doesn't need Crucial. It will take forever. And by forever, I mean a couple of years for the memory market to recover from this nonsense. If it goes on as long as people are predicting. And like I said before, there are tons of RAM manufacturers out there that just buy the RAM chips from Micron and put it on their own sticks. If the consumer market ever becomes profitable enough that Micron's willing to go back in the consumer market, guess what? They're just going to go back to Corsair. You're just going to buy Corsair RAM thinking, oh man, thank God I can support Corsair, not filthy AI supporters like Micron who killed off Crucial all for their wanted reckless greed. Oh my God. Well, you're still supporting Crucial. I mean, Micron. Well, technically both, but I digress. And I want to stress what I mentioned earlier. This is going to affect more than just PC builders. Like I said, unconfirmed reports are coming in. Dell, Lenovo are already looking at increasing their computer prices by 10%. We already know, based on some reports, or actually I shouldn't say we know, we assume based on some reports, the price of the Xbox is going to go up soon. because they do not have the RAM supporting it. Here's actually a fun one for you. We were talking about the price of the Steam machine last week. Here's some fun number things to consider. The Xbox Series has, I want to say, 8 gigabytes of RAM on it. The PS5 has 10 gigabytes of RAM on it. And this is GDDR RAM that's shared. Okay? So they don't have much, but they do have RAM. And the RAM price is tripling. Consider the Steam machine for a moment. It does not have shared RAM. Someone's telling me the PS5 has 16. Does it? Oh, it is 16 gigs. What is the Xbox Series? Xbox Series X is also 16 gigabytes of RAM. Oh, man. Source I had earlier is terrible. All right, either case, they have 16 gigabytes of RAM. Steam machine has 16 gigabytes of DDR5 and an additional 8 gigabytes of RAM for their discrete GPU. That is 50% more RAM than both the consoles. I do wonder, do you think Valve delays the Steam machine by a year? Look at all the hype right now around the Steam machine. Look at how people are doom and glooming over the thought of this thing costing $800, $900. This sucker, at the rate the cost of RAM is going up, may cost over $1,000. And I think that first impression of the Steam machine costing $1,000 would probably kill the Steam machine in its tracks and never recover. I have nothing supporting this theory other than speculation, pure unadulterated speculation, and the look at the facts. I would not be surprised at all if the Steam machine gets delayed until 2027 just to go ahead and try to avoid all of this. Probably a very similar case with the Steam, what do they call it? The new VR headset. I already forgot what it's called. Steam controller, Steam machine, whatever the new Steam headset is. I wouldn't be surprised if that got a delay on it too. Because even though that runs on ARM still needs RAM. But yeah, things are not looking good. They really, really aren't. Now, someone in chat says maybe China will save us in the long term. Maybe. Maybe it'll be Intel with all the new fabs they're trying to build. Maybe. I don't know where help is going to come from. I really don't. Someone in chat said, imagine Intel dropping their CPU business to make RAM. You know, considering their recent track record in CPUs, maybe that's not the stupidest decision they could make. That being said, I don't know the first thing about what they need to do to retrofit their CPU manufacturing outfit to make RAM. I'm not even going to pretend that I have any idea what it would take to do that. I'm not going to be that stupid today. Maybe tomorrow I'll be that stupid, but not today. No, we're definitely not going to do that. There is one thing that might actually be a huge boon to come out of all this. All right, you want some good news? How about some good news? There are some rumors that a number of smartphone manufacturers are considering bringing back micro SD card slots in order to put the cost of internal storage on the consumer, which does sound like a dick move. But you know what? Honestly, this actually could be a really big win. Hey, honestly, you know what? Even though it is a blatant attempt to get the consumer to pay more money for internal storage by passing the cost off to the consumer, I'll take it. I'll take any win I can get. Lord knows the tech crowd is looking at a year-long take of L's. Oh, man. It, you know, like I said, we'll take anything we can get. Anyway, back to bad news. Or rather, I don't know. Is this really good news or bad news? I think it's just news. Well, then again, the first word in it is the word meta, so I guess it's technically bad news just by default. Meta has signed commercial AI agreements with publishers to offer real-time news on Meta AI. Man, you want to talk about fake news? I want you to think about this for a minute, okay? No, I've now thought about this, all right? I've thought about this. This is not good news or bad news. It is really, really funny. So we've got Meta that has their AI that trains itself on Facebook data, offering real-time news to publishers, or other publishers will be offering their information to real-time news that'll be on Meta AI. That is going to be filled with both the work of publishers and the absolute nonsense that is going to be coming from Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to bear witness to the world's most expensive wrong answer machine. And man, we need that popcorn sponsorship. I need to get my bank, because this is going to be beautiful and require a lot of butter and popcorn. It's going to be amazing. We'll have to wait and see how that ends up. Oh yeah, I guess Meta is the other M company. The only problem is that I never consider Meta the M company, because they're the F company. It's just Facebook. Look, I don't call Google Alphabet. I'm not going to call Facebook Meta. That's just not going to happen. In the meantime, Android 16 adds AI notification summaries, new customizations, and more. And the more is also powered by AI. Isn't that great? Isn't it great how more and more AI features are being added to your phone? Look at how necessary it is. Aren't you happy? You're going to get so much AI into your phone, and it's going to do thing. This is almost as bad as what's going on with Microsoft. Almost as bad. Not quite, but almost. But yeah, you can look forward to that, or use that as an excuse to not update your phone flippin' ever. But, you know, maybe I'm being too hard on it, all right? You know, let's just rethink things, okay? Maybe I'm being too harsh on AI, all right? I admit, I'm very anti-AI, and a lot of it is due to the fact that AI just never seems to be ready for prime time. It always just seems to let you down when you need it the most, and just never really going to have the consistency of a good, literally anyone else doing the job. But you know, it's been a long time. It's been a very, very long time since I've given AI an actual bit of trust. So maybe, in fact, all this move towards AI is actually a good thing. Maybe AI actually can help. What's that? A new Google AI wipes a user's entire hard drive without permission, causing a catastrophic failure, but the agent apologizes. Well, at least it said sorry before it completely obliterated all my data. You want to know why servers run Linux? This nonsense right here. So yeah, I mean, you have an AI that's supposed to help you use your computer, which maybe I'm a stubborn old man, but I can use my computer just fine, thank you. And instead it goes ahead and wipes the user's entire hard drive without permission and just gives you a classic, "We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry." Now, first off, I want to talk about this thing called, this agent called Google Anti-Grav, which calls itself the next generation IDE. Forgive me if I'm mistaken, but isn't the next generation IDE called ATA? I'm sorry, AI agent, we have moved on from IDE a long, long time ago. You're in the Stone Age there of storage technology, my friend. But no, obviously we're not talking about that IDE. God, I'd hope not. Although that being said, I'm now imagining these sleek, high-end, frickin' AI data centers, and just inside, there's just all these copper blocks and water cooling, and the inside is just an old style ribbon cable connecting to a 3.5-inch hard drive. Next generation IDE. What was the max storage on IDE? You know, that's a good question, chatter. According to Reddit, 750 gigabytes. Someone else in chat says multiple terabytes. Here's the question. Were they actually IDE drives or were they ATA? Not SATA, ATA. Don't forget that external USB drives were IDE drives for a long time. I thought they were ATA. Zona Hat asked, what about Scuzzy? Well, Scuzzy is an adorable cat, and you should respect Scuzzy at all moments. For if you ever harm Scuzzy, Hexadecimal will come and completely delete you. Reboot jokes aside, you want to know why people are looking over at frickin' Microsoft that wants to go ahead and make Windows 11 a AI agentic operating system and saying, can you please not? This is why. I hate to say it, we're probably going to see more stories like this, and I'm not looking forward to that at freaking all. But hey, there's good that comes out of AI, right? I mean, there's this report here saying that YouTube creators now using AI to make AI slop for babies. So now babies can be entertained by mind-rotting trash. That's a good thing, right? Right? This is truly the darkest day in technology. I mean, not like the darkest day ever, but man, it's looking grim, and I'm not a fan at all. Zone in chat asked, didn't this already happen with Elsa Gate? It's Elsa Gate 2.0. That was one incident. This is now a trend. That's the bigger difference. One is one person went ahead and did this sort of thing. Now you're seeing the pipeline churn. The crank's being turned and it's all just coming out. Someone in chat asked, isn't AI slop the trend overall? AI slop's the problem. But yes, AI slop is a trend. Now it's targeting children. So where's the think of the children people now? Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. They're too busy trying to go ahead and make porn illegal. How can I forget? We're going to go ahead and take a break here. When we come back, I want to talk about, what do I want to talk about? I have India wanting to go ahead and order Apple to put software on phones, as well as a new handheld. And of course, Windows 11 being so stable, maximum stable. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Eagle Eyes on Tech. I'm Eagle Falcon. Chat is making it their mission to try and delay the entire recording so I miss the kickoff. They are having some decent success. I hate to admit it. But in any case, India is trying to order Apple and other phone manufacturers to pre-install a state-owned app that totally does nothing suspicious. Why would you think that? Why would you think the state-owned app that is pre-installed on all phones in India is suspicious? That's not used for spying. Definitely not for spying. Definitely not for spying on their users. No. Why would you think that? All right, full disclosure. We don't know what the Sanchar Sathi app does, but I have some pretty strong suspicions what this app does. Just like you have some very strong suspicion as to what this app does. You think you know, I think I know, we all think we know. So Apple and other phone manufacturers are being made to install this app. However, India has also decided, no, we're not going to do that. Because Apple went ahead and said, no, we're not doing that. Nope. So in the last week, we had India try to go ahead and force all phone manufacturers to install probably spyware, pretty confident spyware, and then just a little bit later go, we think we're good. I think we're good. We can just not do that. That'd be great. So in the end, nothing changes over in India, but it is something to keep in mind that India did in fact try to install spyware on all of their phones. In other news, Samsung has launched their very first multi-folding phone to compete against Chinese brands. I'm not gonna lie, I heard that this was the first tri-folding phone in the US, and because I am so focused on CES and keep seeing all the kinds of crazy stuff they make, my first instinct is, no, that can't be. I've seen tons of tri-folding phones before. Did really none of them launch? Apparently. Now, granted, I think Samsung does have the best implementation of this, because the way they're doing this is that they're making sure all of the inside screens that fold out to a 10-inch tablet do fold internally in the phone, so the soft screens are protected. Many of the Chinese competitors decide that you should go ahead and destroy your phone faster and put all those screens on the outside of the device, which I think is a move for crazy people. That being said, if you're even mildly clumsy with your phone like I am, I would not recommend this. Not at all. These softer screens are very fragile. If you're very gentle with your phones and have a spare $2,500 to spend on this, which is how much this phone's going to cost, I mean, go for it. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, even though you should spend it. You should give some to me at our shop with the description in below. But I digress. I mean, you can go ahead and spend your money however you want. I personally would not at all. I would not. But in the end, you do what you got to do. Kohler had to go ahead and make a this is a story and a half, let me tell you. Kohler has had to come out and make a statement involving their Dakota device. What this is, the Dakota, is a $600 device that has a monthly subscription that will monitor your poop. And Kohler has confirmed that the device that watches you poop will have end-to-end encryption. All right, I'm going to be blunt. I'm going to be blunt here, all right? If you are the kind of person who sees a device for $600 that attaches to your toilet and monitors your poop and keeps a online database of your poop to help monitor your health, end-to-end encryption was not going to go ahead and encourage you or discourage you for your sale. All right. In fact, I dare say, I don't think granted, for a device like this, end-to-end encryption is a must. All right, I will say that. But I don't think end-to-end encryption is going to gain more sales or deter any sales. This is just what it's come down to. Our life is now AI poop or AI slop and having pictures of our poop taken. What world am I living in? What is this world? I just don't. I don't even know anymore. I really, really, really don't. I feel like I'm going insane. Anyway, before I go even more insane than I already am, which is going to be a feat in of itself, New York is now going to require all their retailers to admit when pricing is set based on your personal data. So online shoppers in New York are seeing a new warning saying that a price was set by an algorithm, which is dangerously close to being said that your price was set by AI. Because your life is dictated by all kinds of A words. Now, this is new to me. Okay. I have heard nothing about online shopping prices being set on a personal basis based on an algorithm. Allegedly, this whole thing is based on what people can afford. To which, if this is a technology that exists, I'd have to go, wow, that's cyberpunk dystopian AF. Every day, Cyberpunk 2077 becomes less of a sci-fi video game and more of a prediction of the future. All I can do is shake my head and sigh. Just shake my head and sigh. It's just, what can you even say about this? Google Home has decided that features should be eliminated, and you can no longer call home anymore on your Google Home device. Why? That was one of the most useful things about smart speakers was just, contacting the home base. Like, do we just want smart speakers to just be useless? For the longest time, these sort of smart speakers was like my go-to for a gift exchange. I think this year, the gift exchange thing I'm going to put in as a waffle iron, because you can't, through the cloud, remove features off a waffle iron yet. Is there a smart waffle iron? You know what? I don't want to know. Let me live in a peaceful world where there is no smart waffle iron. Someone in chat says a waffle iron with smart ads. I told you not to tell me. Why would you do this? Instead, I'm going to tell you about the Aya Neo Nex 2, a Steam Machine handheld powered by a Ryzen AI Max Plus 395, which means it basically has the power of an Xbox Series S. Actually, I think the Xbox Series S has less power, but I digress. Like, I'm not gonna lie, these Ryzen AI Max powered devices, also known as the Strix Halo. I keep mixing up the two words. These Strix Halo powered devices are very, very impressive to me. Now, they're trying to say that this thing has a 115 watt hour battery. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I don't think you can have a 115 watt hour battery on a plane. So that actually might be a huge... Did they change that recently? Did they up the capacity of a lithium battery you can have on a plane? Like, that didn't change in my non-caring about planes, has it? Zone in chat says it's not illegal to have, but to take on a plane, yes. So that seems like a huge downfall. I mean, let's also be honest. It's an 85 watt SoC. The only way you're actually pushing this thing to its limit is plugged in. All right, you're going to treat this thing like a gaming laptop. That being said, though, I am glad this thing exists. I do love overpowered computers, even if the price is going to be really, really high because RAM costs a kidney. Someone in chat says it's going to use 35 watts on battery, unless you tell it not to. And thus, bam, 1 hour of battery life, here I come. In other news, AMD, for reasons that scientists cannot explain, has released yet another CPU. The Ryzen 9850X3D is an 8-core chip running the 3D V-cache, and, it's going to be an option that exists. I mean, I can't fault it, but I do gotta ask, really? Really? Do we really need to do that? Well, it's a thing that exists now. Speaking of things that exist now, I want to welcome you to another piece of the PC Building Clown Show. And it's going to be how Intel comes back from the grave. Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the ASRock H67M Combo motherboard. An Intel motherboard that uses an older 12th gen Intel CPU, but on the board, it uses both DDR5 and DDR4. You know what the worst part is? Here's the worst part, all right? A motherboard manufacturer making a CPU for a 3-year-old chip would be looked upon as one of the stupidest business decisions that would ever blight the planet. This entire concept, several months ago, would be considered the dumbest thing on the planet. Right now, this is actually genius and really says a lot about the state of things. So you can use DDR4 now, which is cheaper, not by much, but it's cheaper, or you can use DDR5. You know what my only complaint is about this? It's not mini ITX, because I need a mini ITX for my gaming rig build. But yeah, this is gonna go down in history as a definite sign of the times, because it can use either or. Now, granted, it can't use both. Do not try to be stupid and populate all the slots. Do not try to run both DDR4 and DDR5 RAM at the same time. You are going to be disappointed. The chipset and the generation can only run one or the other. So you gotta at least give it up to ASRock. They cooked, and they came up with an answer for how to solve problem. Is it a good cook? We don't know yet. But the fact that we can't look at it and say that's the dumbest thing I ever saw says way too much. Speaking of saying way too much, Windows 11. Windows 11 is a flawless, perfectly running, wildly accepted operating system that everyone absolutely loves. Everyone loves Windows 11, and everyone should switch to Windows 11. Who cares about Windows 10? Windows 11 is the future. Everything is great, and all of its AI features are greatly looked after, and the fact they go ahead and produce high quality update after high quality update is nothing short of a miracle of engineering. I, of course, am speaking with a lethal amount of sarcasm. It's absolute dog poop. A new Windows 11 bug causes password sign-in icons to turn invisible, as well as icons on the start menu to go ahead and vanish. I actually have that one. It's great. It either turns into a broken JPEG or turns into nothing. But it's there, but it's nothing. You combine that with all of the various other instabilities that they have. I just want to remind you, all right? I just want to remind you, not all that long ago, Microsoft said that AI is the future and they use AI in the regular to code for their own operating systems. I'm not saying that AI is the cause for all of these bugs, but holy smoke, has there been a lot more bugs ever since they announced that they switched to using AI more for development. Wonder if there's a connection. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Let's get into interesting news. Did you know that there is a 3D printed cornea? And it is in fact now a 3D printed cornea has been used to restore sight in a mostly blind patient. This one's kind of an odd one. It's one that you just don't expect, but holy smokes, is that just like a surprising medical advancement from out of left field? So does this mean that in the ENT office, they're going to have medical 3D printers? Now, the 3D printer, what did it actually print with? That is the question. Now, this is from the Rambam Eye Institute in Haifa, Israel, which worked together with a company called Precise Bio that specializes in regenerative tech and biofabricated tissues. This procedure completed towards the end of October involved a corneal implant grown entirely from cultured living human corneal cells rather than donor tissue. We are getting closer and closer to just being able to just making Star Trek medical replicators a real thing, aren't we? Still, very, very impressive that this sort of advancement was successfully made. So, hey, very, very interesting. Hopefully everything goes well for the patient and that they retain their eyesight. I mean, it is one thing, of course, for I'm ignoring chat for a moment here. It is one thing, of course, for the medical procedure to be successful. What's really going to show is how well does this hold up over time? Because there's a difference between, yeah, legally blind person now can see for a week after using a 3D printed cornea. And then there's, thanks to a 3D printed cornea, this person that was blind can now see and has been able to see for a decade. There is a huge difference in that regards. So we'll have to wait and see how this all goes. Either way, huge advancement. Can't deny that. And finally, I bring you the last burb, the last story of the day, the weirdest story of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, a human washing machine. No, I did not stutter. It is a human washing machine. A company in Japan by the name of, is it actually just called a, actually, they're not even saying what the name of the company is called. The device is called the Mirai Human Washing Machine, which is able to shower and dry a person in 15 minutes by simply lying down. And the device has been priced at approximately 60 million yen. Or, the article points out, approximately 560 million won, which doesn't help any of us over here in the West. So let's just quickly Google. This device would cost roughly $386,224.68. For our friends across the pond, that would be roughly $331,612.5 euros. I actually don't know what a fractional euro is called. I legitimately don't know. So there you go. A commercial human washing machine. Put person in, they come out showered. Well, I guess we got that going for us. So at least when we go ahead and can't do any sort of home compute at all, we can go ahead and at least shower automatically. Folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Eagle Eyes on Tech. Thank you so much for listening, and I do encourage you to check out my other works at twitch.tv/EagleFalcon and youtube.com/EagleFalcon. Take care, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. So I gotta ask, like, how much water does this thing use? Like, is this gonna be like a dishwasher where it just like pools all the dirty water at the bottom and then like recycles it and just like sprays it at high pressure? Do I have to wear like goggles for this? What kind of shampoo does it use? Or better yet, if I put someone I don't like in there, will the machine actually rotate like an actual washing machine? Ooh, or even better, will it have a spin dry? I'm just making sure how much of a torture device the human washing machine is actually going to be.